I heard her laugh before I saw her. That laugh, light, unrestrained, the same one that once made me fall in love, was spilling from the passenger seat of a car I didn't recognize. And then I saw him. The man driving was her ex, the one she swore was ancient history. The two of them pulled out of our driveway, her head tilted back, laughing like the world had given her back something it had stolen. And I stood there on the porch, frozen, holding the mug of coffee I had made for her. The steam rose between my trembling hands, as if mocking me for still believing in the warmth of us. For a moment, I thought maybe it was innocent. Maybe he had dropped by, maybe she was just being polite. But the way her hand touched his arm before they disappeared down the street told me the truth I'd been too blind to face. The signs had been there, small enough for me to sweep under the rug. Late nights at the office. The sudden interest in going to the gym more often. Her phone that never left her side, screen tilted away from me. I told myself she was just stressed, that she needed space, that marriage had its seasons. But sometimes at night, when I reached for her, she'd already be turned away, pretending to sleep. That cold space between us had been widening for months, and I kept filling it with excuses instead of questions. And now I was standing on the porch with coffee dripping onto my bare foot, knowing the silence I had ignored had grown into betrayal. When she came back hours later, she didn't bother hiding it. Her hair was messy, her makeup smudged, but it wasn't shame I saw on her face. It was something like defiance. "Where were you?" I asked, my voice sharp but trembling. She shrugged, tossing her bag onto the couch. "Out. With him." That made her pause. For the smallest flicker of a moment, guilt washed across her face. Then it hardened. "Yes. With him. And before you ask, no, I'm not sorry." It felt like the air was being crushed out of the room. I gripped the counter just to stay upright. "Why?" She didn't shout. She didn't even sound angry. Her voice was calm, too calm, like she had rehearsed it. "Because with him, I feel alive again. With you it's just routine. Safety. Stability. That's not enough for me anymore." Her words sliced deeper than any scream could have. I wanted to fight. I wanted to beg, to remind her of the years we'd built, of the vows we made, of the mornings we laughed over pancakes, the nights we stayed up planning our future. But in that moment, I realized something devastating. She had already left me long before she walked out the door with him. "You've been planning this," I whispered. She didn't deny it. I didn't mean for it to happen. But when I saw him again, everything I thought I'd buried came back. I felt sick. Every kiss, every promise, every "I love you" now felt like a lie she had been telling both of us. That night, while she slept in the guest room, I sat in the dark with our prenuptial agreement spread out on the table. My lawyer had insisted on it back then, calling it a shield you'll hope you never need. I had signed it reluctantly, believing love was stronger than legal clauses. But as I read the lines, my anger sharpened into something colder, more deliberate. The house, the one I had bought before we met, was mine, protected. If she broke the marriage through infidelity, she walked away with nothing. The document was clear, and for the first time since I saw her leave with him, I felt a shred of control slip back into my hands. The next evening, she didn't come home. I sat at the dining table, staring at the untouched dinner I had made out of habit. Every tick of the clock was another nail in the coffin of our marriage. When she finally returned, her perfume was heavier, her lipstick faintly smudged. She looked at me like I was the stranger in her life, not him. "I don't want to fight anymore," she said flatly. "I'm leaving." Something inside me broke, but I didn't let it show. Instead, I slid the prenup across the table. "Then read this. You leave, you take nothing. The house is mine. Every dollar I invested stays mine. That was your choice when you signed." Her face drained of color. She hadn't expected me to fight back, not like this. "You wouldn't." "I already did." I cut her off. "While you were out laughing with him, I called my lawyer. Tomorrow the papers are filed. And the house. It's already on the market. You won't get to keep a piece of the life you tried to throw away." Her mouth opened, then closed. For the first time, she had no words. She packed her things in silence. No begging, no apologies. Just the quiet rustle of her leaving. When the door finally closed behind her, the house felt cavernous, like the walls themselves were grieving. I walked through every room that night, memories clawing at me. The paint we had chosen together, the couch we'd fallen asleep on, the bedroom that now felt like a tomb. But beneath the grief, a strange calm took root. I wasn't powerless anymore. I had been betrayed, yes, but I refused to let her betrayal define the rest of my life. Weeks later, the house sold. I signed the papers with steady hands, watching the ink soak into the page. She had expected to take half of everything, to step into a new life cushioned by what we had built together. Instead, she walked away with nothing but her choices. And me? I walked into a new beginning. Not clean, not painless, but mine. I'll never forget the sound of her laughter as she drove away with him. But I'll also never forget the silence that followed. The silence that taught me how to stand, how to fight, and how to let go. Because sometimes, the cruelest betrayals end up being the sharpest freedoms. And as I closed the door to the house I no longer owned, I whispered to myself. She left laughing, but I stayed standing.